Not a single adult foot was harmed by a Lego in the recording of this podcast. From Rochester, New York, the home of pretty much everybody that's important to me at this time, this is FC3's Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky, and everything can be geeky if you love it enough. Starring Tanya Metris, starring Dan Carmen, starring Ann Liebig, starring Billy DeTore, and guest starring, that would be me. I am your host. My name is Chris. Hi guys, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm so glad that Dan's editing skills are like amazing as they are, because really...
That's okay.
That's all, folks.
That's okay. Just change my name. It's been changed several times.
It has been.
48
It really.
years. So
I know. Seriously. A couple, 2, 3
changes. Yeah.
Not recently. Not like the past 22 years or 23 years at least. 24.
Yeah.
So.
As long as it's nothing derogatory, it's okay. You can call me anything.
No,
you
Ann
used to
called
say
me
that.
bitch earlier today.
I used to say that. I used to say I've gone by many a name. The greater majority are derogatory. How?
Go
ahead. No. You started talking first.
I was gonna say, but she called it with me the bitch with all the love in her heart.
All the love.
And she's not wrong. Anyway, no. How are my friends today?
Cookies for you.
No, lots of cookies for me. I am sweet and innocent and lovable.
Oh, okay. Let me quick, Chris. Game Master Bipolarity. He's changed his mind. Bring your 3.5 Star Wars core rules if you have them. We're playing Star Wars today.
Oh, okay, cool.
You'll create characters when you get here or in advance. Core book only 86 points. So,
okay.
Someone needs to be a pilot, and Sean gets to get his military on.
I'll do the pilot. I got dibs on pilot. Where's that on Facebook?
Yeah, it's in I just was on there, and I'm like, oh. So Scott, who probably already thought about 20 different classes for Talislanta, is now like, shit. Hey, D&D, the toys that made us. That wasn't one of them.
They're still making episodes.
Oh, maybe they'll do a D&D one.
And they have the movies that made us too, I just noticed.
Yes!
Yeah, I think that came first.
Dirty Dancing. The first one's Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing, Home Alone, Ghostbusters, Die Hard.
Maybe we'll have to do that one next.
Maybe.
Movies that...
The Ghostbusters one was a little eye-opening. It's very good, though.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, I watch too much television.
And they got the holiday movies that made us. Boy, they got all kinds of one of these.
Oh, the movies that made us started in 2019, where the toys made us started in 2017.
Oh,
So
and that's what we're talking about today. That's kind of cool that we actually, like, this is the first time in a long time that we've talked about what we're actually going to discuss during the opening as early as we have. Usually it's like, we're babbling along. And, oh, by the way, we're talking about this today. And then we jump in.
Just because we did all our babbling before the show today.
Well, there's that. There is that. But, we were getting our updates and whatnot. Out of
absolute swear words, too. Here we go. Okay.
Out of absolute curiosity, has anybody listened to the new podcast that Dan and I did the other day?
I did.
I heard the intro. I haven't gotten.
There was an intro? I don't remember doing an intro.
Well, it's like the intro. Hi, what are we doing? Type thing. That was your intro.
Hi. Yeah, if you were to hit start right about now.
It wasn't really much of an intro, just more of a start of a conversation.
Yeah.
Why did you stop, Tanya? It was like, ooh, a bug. What made you stop or start then stop?
I was at work.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had a chance to. I've just been like super busy over the last couple days. Hi, Tyler. That I haven't had a chance to pick it back up. So I'm going to hopefully, between this and Star Wars later today, I'll have a chance to listen to it.
I truly enjoyed Dan and Chris Save the World.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Oh,
I'm still afraid. So
It shouldn't be. I mean, it's not like we're too completely mental or anything.
It's just stories of friendship, and I
Exactly.
enjoyed that.
You're just talking about us.
I think that's basically going to be it. Is Dan and I talking about our opinions of the world in general, while relating it to stuff that we've dealt with, because it's amazing, the both of us, regardless of what we've been going through, we both feel fairly young. We look back and we're like, oh my God, we're 50, really? But we still feel like, we've only been around for a little while, but we're looking back at the vast life experience we've actually collected and just marveling at it. It's like, wow, we really have stories. We've seen things, we've done things, we've met people, we've tried things, we've gone places, and so it's interesting to kind of look back at we're just as surprised by it as hopefully you will be.
And it's only our first episode, so
yeah,
we gotta. Who knows where it's gonna go?
We
got a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. Wow.
We got a 5-star already.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It wasn't even me, and I would have given it to you.
James?
I don't know.
Maybe
hard to say, but whoever did it, thank you. That's awesome.
I've only known you guys a couple of years, and I like learning about your backstories and your opinions and learning more about you guys. I honestly enjoyed it. So
coolness. Thank you.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Off the rails.
Oh, no! See, it's never going to be off the rails because the podcast is never meant to be on them.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. Is it's just never meant to be actually on the rails. Therefore, we're fine.
We're where we're meant to be.
I do have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to the website that you linked to listen to it. I forget, Transistor or whatever it was. At some point, will it be available? I have a podcast app called Podcast Addict where it just like updates the newest episodes of my favorite podcasts. Will I be able to do that?
You should. I mean, I couldn't submit it to most of the podcast places until after we published our first episode. Yeah. So I did do that on Friday. So it just showed up on Apple Podcasts, so it should be showing up everywhere else. So this should be happening as we speak. So yeah, keep an eye out for it. Yep.
So I'll definitely listen later today.
Very cool. Hey, it's only 55 minutes is the first one, and it doesn't even have like a true opening or closing or breaks or anything like that. It's just the two of us. We start talking, and boom, we're off and running, and then we just keep talking until oh, look at the clock.
And let's save that for next time.
Right? That's right.
Yeah,
we got a
good tease.
Lots to go.
Yeah, but yeah, we're good. How you feeling, Dan?
I'm feeling overall okay. Besides being very itchy around my surgery spot, I've been pretty good. It's just that's
the healing process. Today,
so yeah, if you feel it going, then it's healing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's especially Anna was saying, hey, it means you're alive. Great.
Yeah, I don't need to know I'm alive at 2 a.m. I like to be dead asleep at that time.
Sleep is overrated.
Yeah.
It's your new superhero name, Captain Itchy.
Captain Itch a lot.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Itchy and scratchy.
I was waiting for that one. I was waiting.
Yeah, but predictability is fun sometimes. Mm-hmm. How about you, Anne?
What up?
Are you? Is this becoming a regular thing? You're going to join us on a regular basis? You're always welcome, obviously.
I don't know. Tanya and I are trying to save the world. No, I'm kidding. We're just
we're not.
It's called Comic Chicks.
Oh my God.
Tanya and Ann wreck the world.
That's pretty good. We need to get a TikTok of Tanya and I chasing around Grogu's. All the different stores.
Oh my God. Yeah, just put Riker in a Grogu mask and then it's just the two of you chasing around the store.
Ours would be behind the scenes of Comic Chicks. What happens when they're not opening comics?
Well, there you go.
Yeah. This week, my husband says he's going to pull which boxes I can open because last week, 2 weeks ago, I picked the worst boxes to open. There were so many books. So we were going for 35, 40 minutes, and I still barely got through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We opened over 100 books that day. So we need to go little slightly smaller. Because he's like, there's some really good ones you're not getting at, but they're at the bottom now because I keep putting stuff on top. So,
well, that's his fault.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm off this week, so I can come over early on Wednesday and.
Well, you can come over anytime you want because I shouldn't tell you this. We have thousands of dollars of craft supplies that was donated to my Girl Scout troop or my Girl Scout service unit, and there's got to be there's got to be at least 100 pounds of scrapbooking paper that my daughter is now sorting by colors.
Oh,
jeez.
And it's like this giant sorting nightmare over here. It's like all over everywhere. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, the blues have to be with the blues and the baby boy have to be with baby boy. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
no, actually, I'm right there with her.
And she's got like this sorter thing out with file folders in it. And she puts the folders and like, oh man.
We're teaching her right. I love her.
So come on over and sort away. There's so much stuff to sort. I mean, I'm ever so grateful because supplies for Girl Scouts are so expensive, but
what if we come over and secretly unsort it?
Yes. Like I wanted to shuffle stuff last night just to see if she'd notice, but she noticed when I moved one sheet on top.
Oh my gosh.
How are the kitties, Billy?
Dora's not feeling well again, so we'll probably have to take her to the vet tomorrow. It's funny because she had been feeling very good the past like week and a half, and she had gotten an antibiotic shot of some sort, and that seemed to help, but that may have worn off, and now we're not sure why she doesn't feel well again. So
her teeth are okay and everything?
Yeah, she seems to be. We don't know. I mean, literally Thursday she seemed like really normal, and then yesterday she was not feeling good again. So or Friday not feeling good again, and Saturday within the last couple of days. So we'll see what's going on with her and how we can get her back to normal again and stay that way. So
we have a senior kitty and he has bad teeth, but we can't get his teeth fixed because he has a heart condition.
And Dora had a couple pulled a bunch of years ago, but
so he has to be on antibiotics every 3 months for a week. You ever tried to give a pill to a cat and not lose a finger?
It sucks. And Dora's a grump too, so
he has to have a pill every single day. We crush it into his food.
That's what we do. Dora's been on prednisone for a while now for other stuff, and that's what we do. But hopefully she's okay, or will be okay.
I hope so. We'll cross our fingers for her.
Thank you.
Maybe Dora needs a heated blanket.
She can have any of us she wants. She's got blankets. She's got people. She's got little cave houses, things.
Did you see the little houses that Aldi had?
No.
Aldi has a house for every season for the cats. So that for Christmas they had gingerbread houses. We got one for the cats for Valentine's Day. It looks like a little bakery. It's so cute. The cats all play in it. And we've gone down the cat rabbit hole.
Chris, I think that's the house that Juliana got for Molly. Was the one I think from Aldi's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that did not survive very long.
Yeah, kittens tend to be a lot rougher on things.
Oh, it was not the kitten's fault.
Oh,
there's a puppy in the house too,
yep.
And she decided to play with it because she thought it was really cool. And the rest is, as we would say, is history at this point.
We had 4 cats all trying to fit into that one little house.
Oh boy!
See, now that'd be an issue. That definitely would be an issue.
No, I only said that because Anne sent me a picture the other morning about the cats have taken her heated blanket that I gave her.
Yes, they learned
I saw
how
those
to turn
pictures.
it on. They learned how to step on it and turn it on.
That's a fire hazard waiting to happen.
Yeah, I have to unplug it when I go to bed at night.
One question: will vets offices be open on President's Day? They should be, right?
They should be. It's like
okay.
basically a medical office, so I don't see why they wouldn't be.
Just wanted to make sure, or not that you guys would know any more than me. That's kind of what I thought too, but
I would call first, though.
Yeah. Oh, we will. Yeah, we'll make an appointment and call and let them know what's going on. So,
poor little
excuse me.
Bless you.
Do you need more cats? We can send some extras for support.
No, we got 6, and one of them hates cats, so he has his own room. And then every once in a while, we have to put all the other cats in the different rooms so he can run around and get some exercise. And but the 3-legged, and he will fight. He's like the fastest, meanest fighter. But people he loves,
is that Pie?
Pie, yeah. He loves people. He wants to do nothing but cuddle and purr and be your friend. But another cat will send him and make him insane.
Weird.
And him and Oliver accidentally got into it once, and it was scary.
Oh wow.
So.
Oh wow.
We only have one bad cat here, and it's Wade's cat, Cookie. She only likes one other cat in the house. I mean, she won't go purposely attack them, but if they walk past her when she's looking sideways at them, she'll smack them. But she absolutely loves ravioli. And it's the weirdest thing because they like cuddle.
I'm rather fond of ravioli too. I'm torn between bolognese and marinara, but it's a good sauce to go with. Oh, you meant the cat.
I meant my little cat, my big cat.
He's not little. he's not a little cat.
He's fluffy.
Yeah,
I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
He's fluffy. Well, yeah, he is pretty big, but I saw online yesterday somebody was selling full bred Maine Coon cats.
Oh wow.
And the dad was 45 pounds and the mom, 35 pounds. And the mom was like 28 pounds. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I need another one.
Could you imagine?
That is a big cat.
Well, we already have ravioli. He is a Maine Coon. So
is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured.
But they're a lot of work to take care of. I mean, you have to brush them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or have Cookie groom him every day. Take your pick.
My son is currently on a 24-hour stream marathon with his gang on Twitch.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Up?
And of course he is. He's like, Dad, you want to do dinner after I get out? And when I get done at 5? And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to be alive. Are you kidding me?
Is he getting up and walking every hour? Okay, that's the mom.
Yeah, no, they're cycling. There's like 5 or 6 of them that are a team, and they're making. Well, a couple of them are on at all times. So, but a couple of they're taking shifts and whatnot, so that they don't get too.
What are they playing?
Away. Everything at the moment. They were playing. I don't know what game they're on right now. I'm watching it, and I have no idea what this game is. But they've been doing Call of Duty. They were doing Minecraft for a little while. They're doing Terraria, I think is the name of this one particular game they were playing. They're going to try Fortnite later, but none of them actually like Fortnite. But people are asking to play Fortnite, so they're going to try Fortnite. So it's funny to watch, and I have it on my side monitor, so I'm keeping an eye on it little by little, and I'm watching the chat. At one point at around 11 o'clock last night, this one guy jumped in and started getting a little antsy. Now they were like, okay, yeah, whatever. They're blowing him off, and they were making fun of him for being mean. And then I just jumped on the guy and they tore him apart. And Ian's like, "Oh, my dad's here! Look at that!" So it was funny. It was cute. Anyway, so that's going on. Hey, what are we talking about today? We mentioned it a moment ago.
The toys that made us.
True to form, we are almost 20 minutes in and haven't gotten around to actually doing anything of merit. But except for hey, how you doing kind of stuff. So the toys that made us. It's a Netflix series. It's 3 seasons. How many episodes a season? It's like only like
4.
It's 4
yeah, I was going to say there's like 12 episodes total, and it's really kind of cool for those of us of we'll say middle years, where we get to see the foundations of the things that we used to really enjoy as kids, and they helped kind of focus our creativity. And we all watched different episodes, so I thought that was kind of a nice little tidbit. So we all have a different perspective on the same show, so that'll be kind of neat because it's formulaic, right? It talks a little, it brings up the company that's behind the toy in particular, history, how it, what moves through. Stuff like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about it after the break. But I'm looking forward to it. We picked some obvious ones, and we'll chat about that a little bit. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be discussing the toys that made us, the Netflix series. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. So yeah, like we said just before the break, it's a show that came out. The first season was out in 2017, season 2 in 2018, season 3 in 2019. 3 seasons. The Toys That Made Us. It's an American documentary streaming on the Netflix system, 4 episodes per season, and it began on December 22nd of 2017. Let's see what we got here. The 8-episode documentary series, as it was originally touted, focuses on the history of important toy lines. The first 4 episodes focus on Star Wars, He-Man, Barbie, and Wade's favorite, G.I. Joe, with subsequent episodes featuring Lego, Transformers, Hello Kitty, and Star Trek. In July of 2018, it's when they announced at the San Diego Comic-Con that the show had been picked up for the 3rd season, and that included Power Rangers, professional wrestling, My Little Pony, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes
in a half shell. Yes, Turtle Power.
Turtle Time.
Have to do the whole thing. And it was released on Netflix in 2019, back in November. So let's see. Basically, as Netflix or as Wikipedia will say, there were released spin-off series, The Movies That Made Us, which is something we will definitely be talking about because we were chatting about that before we started recording today, The Movies That Made Us. And so I think that would actually have kind of an equal place in our hearts as toys have done. So yes, The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, 12 episodes, easy to binge, and we're going to chat about it for a little while today. Who's the one who brought this one to our attention in the first place? Anne, right? I think it was Anne who mentioned it.
I think Billy did too. I think we both did.
Yeah, you saw all of them. I watched the Star Trek episode, caught my attention a few months ago, and I really enjoyed it. But I actually didn't watch another one till yesterday to prep for today.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it really is a fun show.
I enjoyed it. I've only watched the 1 episode so far, and I'll talk a little bit more about which episode I picked in a bit. But Billy, you watched the professional wrestling toys?
Yeah, the wrestling toys. And it's funny because I've never been like an action figure guy, no one to like wrestle with the toys or whatever. But looking at all the ones available now made me want to go get some just for display.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout, and the show is really fun because just like professional wrestling, to get the rights to the different organizations, there were different companies backstabbing each other,
Yep.
turning on each other, different like organizations pretending to be nice and then going the other way. It really did resemble a wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
and the acquisition of the rights for WWF and then WCW, eventually ECW, and one had to go with a lower brand wrestling league, the AWA, because they got shut out of the other ones. And there was one guy who he was like a running thread throughout the show.
Mm-hmm.
He was a salesperson for one of the companies who referred to himself as Jewish Lightning. And he was just a big wrestling fan who wanted to be involved in wrestling in some way. And eventually through the toy line and then making friends with the different wrestlers, got his wish. And I'm sure you guys have a similar experience where the editing and the narration is also very funny. The way they put the show together, I thought was very funny. But besides not being an action figure guy, the one thing I did have, and this was as an adult, they had a series of big plushy pillows called Wrestling Buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pillows, but shaped like there's like 5 or 6 different wrestlers you could get them. And in at least in my 20s, I had a couple of them just because I thought they were cool, and I had them like in my room, like on display. And so now I want nothing more than my $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase Wrestling Buddy back.
So the documentary about the toys was structured very much like how the plot lines ebb and flow in the actual World Wrestling Federation or the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yes, it really did. There was the one company who had bid on getting rights to the WWE likenesses, and then there was just a bunch of like backstabs and double turns or doubles backstab, whatever.
Yeah, double crosses,
exactly,
things like
double
that,
crosses, exactly. And over the course of 20 years, there had to be 5 or 6 companies involved because people kept just going behind each other's backs, and it really did resemble wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But Jewish Lightning was my favorite.
That's kind of interesting. Did anybody else notice that then? Because as soon as Billy mentioned that, it caused a thought in my head. Because I watched the Lego episode, naturally, and I thought it was interesting and how it was. I didn't really realize it until he said something about how his episode was structured like the World Wrestling Federation kind of happens, like the professional wrestling TV shows, how they ebb and flow, and you got different turns and double crosses and whatnot. But the more I thought about it, the Lego episode was very structured. There was a foundation to it. They built on it. They tore some stuff down and they rebuilt it. And so I'm almost getting the vibe that the people who created the show did so. They crafted the episode to be like the toy they were talking about. Can anybody feed into that, or am I reading too much into it?
I watched the Star Wars episode, and no one before Star Wars came out, no one knew what it was. No one wanted it. And when they went to try to get someone to make the toys, nobody wanted to make the toys for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then they finally found somebody who did it, and I guess it kind of mirrors it.
Okay.
I watched the Barbie episode, and the Barbie episode was structured based on how Barbie changed with the times.
She's evolved with fashion, as it were,
or fashion, or what was happening.
Women's rights.
Rights. Barbie could be an astronaut. And then, like in the 1960s, that's when Malibu Barbie came out. Or was that the 70s? Something like that. So, like, whatever was around that particular time frame, they kind of adjusted the Barbie to do it. It's like the 60s, the Barbies, that was the big time where, like, the twist and everything was happening. So the actual Barbie dolls waist and hip moved, and you could actually twist it back and forth instead of it being like a solid doll.
In the Barbie one, that what got me was because when Gem was around in the 90s.
Ooh, yeah.
Right before the Gem toy line came out, Barbie came out with Barbie and the Rock Stars and totally undercut everything that was happening with Gem.
Right, because they caught wind of Gem and the holograms. They caught wind of it, and then they raced to get that one out before Gem. So it's like kind of cutting people off in order to
business, yeah.
And that's kind of what like the Mattel brand did, even when they did the G.I. Joe episode, was a lot about how things changed with how boys played with toys. And how G.I. Joe changed as boys matured and stuff. It had the same structure. I do want to say that Star Trek was probably a little bit harder. Star Trek had so many toy makers in the beginning. Like they sold the rights to anybody who wanted to make it because they wanted toys. But none of them were actually based on the show. They would just stick a sticker on a current toy that's out there and change a label, and that was Star Trek.
Yeah, I remember from that episode, didn't they have like figures of characters that didn't even exist?
Yes. Yes. Or they would take figures that already existed, switch body parts around, and say, it's Star Trek.
They did that they mentioned that in Star Wars, too, that they did that, especially when they needed to get some stuff out fast.
Yeah.
Where they took existing toys and they just changed them slightly or packaged them differently, and suddenly it's a Star Wars toy.
Well, in Star Trek, they actually took like some of the Planet of the Apes toys and just put a lizard head on the ape body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of almost gets into what you've seen now. I don't know if you've seen it around, but how Disney kind of reused the same footage in different cartoons.
Yeah.
So you see like the exact same movements, just different characters type of thing for some of the animations there. But, you just got to do what you got to do, right?
That's it. But they're, and in the Lego episode kind of talks about it a little bit, where they had this, the system is the religion, basically. Everything that built up from the original, creator and owner of the Lego company. Everything was this system. The way that the bricks fit together, the patents, the plastic, the engineering, so that a brick that was made in 1950s can work with a set that was built in 2020.
It still does. I tried it.
Yeah, yeah, and but then when things were fluctuating and they were having issues, they were scrambling and they were just throwing things at the wall and hoping something would stick. And they were having this rough patch from like the late 90s all the way up through the early 2000s, almost to about 2008, 2009. The company almost went under on 2 or 3 different occasions. So it was just trying so hard just to see what would happen without really remembering. And they saved themselves by going back to the basics, rebuild from the foundation up. And which is interesting for a building toy. It's a great analogy. But you were talking about, we'll just take this and put another different head on it, or take this and, slap a sticker on it. They were doing stuff like that. And so it was interesting for me that the show, the documentary, these people who create the toys that made us, they're not afraid to peel back the layers and say, this is where they messed up. Mm-hmm. This is how this is where it went wrong. And this is what they thought about it. This is what was really happening. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch that, you really got to see everything right down to the blemishes.
Now I felt more objective versus, just this is what happened. Not, we're not putting our opinion on it. This is just what happened to it. Mm-hmm. So it made it, I enjoyed it because of that.
When I was a little kid, Legos came in like a bucket or a box or whatever, but they didn't have, I don't remember them having a specific, like Dan, you have your newest one is that big Lego
big Harry 6,000,
6,000 Potter castle. Did they have that type of stuff when
they did?
We were
but
kids,
I think it was more of a balance. There were some. I mean, 'cause I remember getting the early space sets, for example, and they definitely were not as involved as they are today and everything. But those were a big deal. But there were a lot more just sets of Legos, just random pieces and. And you can, they show examples of things you can build on the bucket, whatever, but those are very few. Because I remember shopping for some of those, like for the kids, and there wasn't a lot of just blocks.
Huh.
Well, they always wanted to push you create your own thing. The whole thing was about imagination. Like, right. It was funny because Tanya and I were talking about it with Riker. Riker has become the Lego addict of this generation. And he builds the sets and then plays with them, but he leaves them basically there. He built his model and he's left it alone. Mm-hmm. And when I kind of tasked him with the idea of, he goes, I don't know what to build. I said, now here's the best part is you take down all these Star Wars sets that you've collected, you break them down and you create something new. And I said, don't create an X-Wing or a Y-Wing, create the Y-Wing, and he kind of looked at me like I had 3 heads. I'm like, no, you're missing the point, buddy. Get in there.
That's the trouble. That's kind of the trouble with the sets, though, because I love the new sets, but there's so many like special pieces and stuff, and there's so many different things that
you don't want to take it apart.
Yeah, you're afraid to take it apart, mix it up, because you'll never be able to build the set again because it'll take you forever to do it. Versus, when I first dug my old sets out a few years ago, I went and rebuilt a lot of the old sets, and it wasn't that difficult. But with today's sets, I can't imagine going. I mean, like the castle, I will never take that thing apart probably because it's just so huge and massive.
Right.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to put it because it's so large.
That's amazing.
So it's the detail is, these stained glass windows they have in there. These all the different special pieces. There's just.
You have to build a Lego room.
Yeah, but even that, you almost have to buy an extra set because you don't want to destroy the set you have. I got stuff sitting on my desk right now. I got a DeLorean, I got a Ghostbusters car, I got the Mystery Machine, the TARDIS and stuff on my desk right now. But, what am I going to use those pieces? I don't want to take those apart and try to rebuild them later because or if I do, I have to keep the pieces separate,
in its own. Well, that's the
I want to mix them together.
That's the problem we were talking about. Is Riker so many years ago for Christmas got an AT-AT, and he built it, and it was on the DVD shelf in the living room, and that's where it was like because we have a lot of Star Wars stuff out there. Well, one day it fell off the shelf.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no is right. Well, since it fell off the shelf, we put everything in a box to like, well, we'll get back to it sometime. And that was like three some odd years ago. Well, they just finally found the bin that all those pieces are in. And on, must have been Thursday when Riker was done with his remote learning, either Wednesday or Thursday. Him and Nene started sorting the things out in there to make sure that if it was a gray or a black piece, it stayed in that box. If it was something else, it got put off to the side in order for him to start to rebuild it. And right now he's got, I think, 2 of the legs redone, because some of it I think was still intact. But yeah, he's running out of room now in his room for those big sets, and it doesn't help that my mother-in-law is encouraging it. And she brought him 2 Lego sets on Friday or whatever that he built as soon as he got home from school, Thursday, because one of them became mine. Obi-Wan's hut became mine because he already had one, and then he had the battle at Mustafar?
Mustafar.
Got that, and now he said since he's on vacation this week, we have to go to the Lego store in order to keep his mind off the coronavirus.
Oh,
so everyone,
because that's only slightly manipulative. Nice.
Hey,
I think this was part of Lego's plan, though, was to create things that people could collect, assemble, put together, and not ever take apart. And if they wanted to build something else, then you had to buy a whole new set, because that right there, I mean, you buy one set, it's like my bathroom. I have dozens of Legos in there because they're all Star Wars.
Never noticed.
And I'll never take them I'll never take them apart. But we have bins of regular Legos that Charlie plays with. And, we just buy the plain sets that are just the random, the box of 200 to be creative and imaginative with. But the ones that are specific, like my daughter had the Lego Friends, the cruise ship, and some dolphin thing and a horse barn or whatever, you can't take those apart because then it won't be what you want to play with.
Now, I just looked on Amazon because I thought I remembered there being a Bat Cave. And there is a Bat Cave, Lego Superheroes Batman classic TV series Bat Cave, based on the 60s TV show. It's $330.
Wow.
Is that normal?
Well, as soon as Lego stops, as soon as they stop building them, stop selling them, the prices jump. So people tend to buy extras of the sets, and then they wait for them to Lego to discontinue them, and then the prices jump. So yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, well, because last week Riker had gotten the Boba Fett helmet, and he built that, and then my mother-in-law is like, okay, do you want the Stormtrooper helmet? So she had me order it on Amazon, and he goes, I want the Death Star. And she's like, okay. I'm like, no, not okay. And she's like, but it's $50. I'm like, oh no. Oh honey, no.
So there's different Death Stars, Tanya. There's different ones. There is a $50 one.
Yeah, but this is the $50. This looks like the 6,000 piece whatever that's normally $500, but it's on eLord doctor whatever.com.
One of the Chinese sites.
Right. Yeah. I said, Riker, this is where mommy tried to get the Millennium Falcon that was $800 for $129. And he goes, yeah, you got that little teeny tiny military truck. I said, yes, that's what it was. But Yvonne's like, but I typed in Lego Store Eastview Mall and this is what came up. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't say Lego Store on it. And I'm like, I go, if you want that Death Star, which is the same thing that I saw the same picture on 20 different things, I'm like, that's anywhere from $499 to $1,000 because it's discontinued. And Riker's like, oh. I said, yeah, oh. And one, you have no place to put it. It's just like us in regards to the Millennium Falcon. We would have to take down everything on our plant shelf and put it there and then put plexiglass around it so no one can touch it.
It's the coffee
drop on it.
It's the new coffee table. Yep.
Tanya, you brought up something really interesting though. Between social media and the Chinese bootleg sites can be trouble if you don't do your investigation. Because I saw something, speaking of Toys That Made Us, there hasn't been an episode about it yet, but growing up, I remember Do you guys know who Ms. Beasley is, or Miss Beasley?
It rings a bell, but I can't place it.
It was a doll from a sitcom called Family Affair. There was a character named Buffy, the little girl, and she had a Miss Beasley doll.
Oh, yes.
And they were amazingly popular. And my sister had one at one time. And a couple weeks ago, I saw on Facebook, whatever company it was, classic Miss Beasley doll. Oh, I should get this for Barb for Christmas. Like, even if I get it now. And it said like $35. So I clicked the link and I could tell it took me to like a bootleg site. Mm-hmm. So I did a Google on the actual Miss Beasley reproduction by whoever did it, Mattel or whatever.
Ashton Drake.
And it was like $130.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not going to fall for the $25 Miss Beasley because I don't think it's right. Mm-hmm. But those bootleg sites are trouble, and I'm glad you caught the fake Lego one, even though I think you did get scammed once, right?
Oh, but I did get that money back.
Oh, good.
I did get that one back in regards to that little teeny tiny military truck that's not even like, it wasn't even Lego. It's not even like the I can't even remember Lego? What it was called. It's not I can't remember, but they're like, you keep and give to friend, and like, just that's how it stunted it was in the email. You keep and give to friend. Mm-hmm. We won't
keep
charge
it if I don't
you,
have to pay for it. Yeah.
And we won't charge you shipping to send it back. Like I would have had to pay shipping and customs to send it back. And I'm like, no. So I tried that the second time in regards to the wooden desk, that wooden folding laptop desk that my dad saw on Facebook that he wanted, that I ordered, and it was like $30 or something. I didn't get my money back for that. That what came was a pink plastic injection molding tray with fake like creepy crappy legs. So my dad still has it, but
and the episode has become The Wish That Made Us.
Yeah.
The Wish That Made us angry.
That's the thing is, like, you look at the toys that made us, and Billy's right. Like, you're like, oh, I'd like to get like Lego, like to search certain things, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever, that seems to be a really good deal, and they show you that picture, and that picture's in your email, and everything's in there, and you think that that's what you're getting, and then something comes in the mail, and you're like, that's not what I ordered.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Then it probably is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
Toys that made us mad.
Oh, let Ann in.
It's okay. And sometimes you buy the real thing for real money, and what comes in the mail is not the same. I ordered my daughter a violin music stand at Christmas. Okay. Mm-hmm. The picture, the dimensions, the weight, it had a weighted bottom. It had a nice heavy stand top. Like, they told me that is what they use for performances. I paid for it and waited for it to come. No big boxes came. I'm like, okay, it'll come after Christmas. It's stuck because of the postal service, whatever. No, it was in the mailbox. A 6-inch box. It was a weighted paperweight.
Wow.
It was $48.
Oh.
Wow.
I mean, I sent it back. I got my money back and stuff, but I'm like,
seriously?
6 inches, 6 feet. I mean, people don't know the difference? Like, yeah. Anywhere
they're
you go.
They're counting on people just letting it go.
Yeah.
So there's a certain percent of people that just let it go, and then that's what they'll make.
Well, it's like Amazon returns. So you know how many people return stuff in Amazon? It sits on pallets in warehouses, and you can buy that whole pallet for like $500, and no matter what's in it, you keep it. And you don't know what is going to be on that pallet. I think people just go through those pallets and sell stuff.
It's like the storage locker wars or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen about something about that. Yeah, people buying pallets.
Yeah, I have, or mystery boxes on eBay, or
we're buying up storage the storage things that people abandon.
Yeah. Or the unclaimed
luggage.
Oh yeah, the luggage. I've heard about that.
There's an unclaimed luggage store in Atlanta. They open up everything, and then you can go through and brand new clothes, brand new lots of stuff. It's crazy.
Wow. Jeez.
So,
Amazing.
it's just everywhere you go. So Legos, I don't know. Can Legos like go in with other pieces as well though? Like, wasn't there at one point another company that kind of made some of the same ones?
Yeah, there's other building brick ones, and they do not work as well.
Okay.
I've gotten a couple of sets from them, and they're horrible. I don't like them. They're hard to put
Which
together.
one?
They're hard to. I forget what's the name of the. There's a couple, one or two other places that make a lot. They get a lot of the brands there, the properties, and they build sets for them, but they're not very good sets. The pieces don't work very well, and I won't buy any building bricks that aren't Legos because the other ones are just junk.
Oh, like the Halo, it's Mega Constructs or
Yeah, the Mega Blocks, whatever.
Mega, yeah. So, because I just typed in Halo because I know Halo was one that does something that's different.
They get the cool properties, or but the bricks just don't work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's however Lego makes them, they do it well. So that's good. But
my husband, we started watching the Toys That Make Us because of G.I. Joe. I know, shocking.
I know he's got the room of it, right?
Yeah. But I remember watching him watch that episode and the sheer joy on his face. And I think that's what that whole show does. Like, even when I was watching the Barbie episode or the Star Wars episode, that it cracks me up because I remember having some of those toys at a very young age. And I think this show just goes on that nostalgia feel that we all miss from getting that new toy.
Yeah.
And you're right, because I know my friend Paulie is a huge fan of wrestling and had those wrestling toys and played with them, the figures and all that stuff. So the first thing I did after watching was message him, Paulie, you got to watch this. You'll love it. And he was really excited last night to watch. I go, it's funny and it's really interesting. There's a little history of wrestling and then all the toys that you grew up playing with. And I could just tell from his return messages that he was excited to watch this. With
and
all
I think
toys.
that's the best part about the show is the fact that there's 12 of them now. And so there's 12 major topics covered. And they do such a great job of bringing you back to when you first found this particular toy and the feeling that you had, and kind of like letting you just kind of soak in that whole nostalgia factor and enjoy that moment, like Star Wars toys, Star Trek, Lego, wrestling, the whole works. I mean, when I finished watching the Lego episode, I'm like, I'm wondering when they're going to do something about the Voltron toys, because that would have been awesome.
Oh.
So it's just like there's this kind of this moment where you feel it, and that's usually pretty good documentary when they get you to feel it. That's
yes.
fun with that.
I'm reliving my childhood. I'm on Google and I'm looking at the Barbie dream house from the 1980s that I had, the A-frame house that was like red and yellow, and then there's a little diorama here with I just lost it. With Barbie and the pink Corvette in the pool, and like, I had that because the one room in my parents' house, like, I was an only child, so therefore upstairs was my bedroom, and then there was two other rooms, and one was a toy room, and so I had my old Barbie, like the whole room was like Barbie's land type thing. It was like the house in one corner, and the beauty salon in another area, and the pool, and the RV, and the car, and for the longest time, my parents had them, and then I'm like, just get rid of them, just sell them, or just whatever. And it was like in my early college years, and now I'm going,
We used to go to the neighbors, so it was our house, and then the next house over, and the next house over, and then the one house across the street. We were all within like a year or two of each other, all the boys, all the girls. And we went into the attic of Amber and Jesse's house. I remember that. We all would bring our Barbies. And us girls would be on one side with our Barbies, and even like we would draw Barbies outfits, we would design clothes for them, and the boys would be on the other side with the WrestleMania, the ring. And you would see them like flinging Hulk Hogan and them just flinging it. And then you never knew what was going to happen because there was no Elizabeth doll. So Macho Man Randy Savage had to get married to Barbie. Mm-hmm. And it all just ended up being one giant, everybody playing and getting along for 4 hours with Barbies and wrestling. And yes, G.I. Joe was thrown in there on occasion because, but that's what toys were in those days. It wasn't you use it for this way and this way only. It was you used your imagination and you played with everything.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what it was back in the day. And, we can shake our fists at these kids, because of virtual worlds, computer gaming and whatnot. But the point still stands. Which one's better? Which one's not? It doesn't matter. When we were kids, this was the way it went. You brought your Barbies, you brought your GI Joes, you brought your Legos, you brought your your Star Wars figures, you brought your and then you brought your X-wing, and then the X-wing was dive bombing Lego bases that were being guarded by GI Joes, and it was all being run by President Barbie over in the over in the treehouse. It made it work, and it was always natural fit for us.
So who's coming over to play?
Yeah,
and we played with our toys. We didn't just display them.
Yeah, you didn't have to use Facebook check-ins to figure out where everybody was. You just looked where the stack of bikes were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, they're over at the Campbell house. Okay.
We were never allowed to leave more than 3 houses in either direction.
Wow.
Because I lived right behind Kodak Park. And 3 houses either direction were fences. So all 6, it was 7 houses total, were all shared one giant backyard.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So you're not allowed to leave the backyard. You're not allowed to cross the street. And you can't leave 3 houses on either side. Mm-hmm. And we had the most adventures. Like I'm probably going to say there's probably still Barbies in the treehouse in the way backyard.
Where did you live? Where was this?
At Goodwill Street.
Where's Goodwill Street?
You know where the California Brew house is?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Straight down. We're right behind the research labs of Kodak Park.
Well, me and Chris are both within walking distance. We'll be over to play soon.
Yeah, there you go.
She doesn't live there now.
I don't live there, yeah. But I used to walk right past Billy Street. I worked at that Burger King on Westridge Road from the time I was like 15 until I was almost 19. Which is no longer there. I think it's a car dealership now.
Yeah. Most of Goodwill Street's been redeveloped too.
No,
closer to where Ann is now. So yeah.
Now, assuming. Oh, I'm sorry, Ann.
No, it's okay. If you go past Eastman, there was all the houses, and most people didn't realize this, but Goodwill Street and Merrill that both ran, and it was the whole border of Kodak's parking lot. Mm-hmm. Were all owned. The houses were owned by Kodak, and Kodak employees rented them as a discount.
Oh, nice.
I remember Merrill Street. My first girlfriend lived on Merrill Street.
Yeah, we were there. we were there. I mean,
I didn't know Debbie Gibson was in Rochester.
Not virtual fantasy girlfriend.
That was his second girlfriend.
That's with like the love.
His first girlfriend for Debbie Gibson.
Yeah.
That's right. It kind of worked out that way. Timing wise, it probably would have. Yeah.
Oh my Lord!
Now I think there's going to be a season 4. What toys do you think? What did you guys play with that hasn't already been represented in the first 3 seasons?
Oh man, fake
Matchbox cars.
Fake
That's
makeup.
a good
I was
one.
going to say because Though I spent so much time with Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars. I made up, I couldn't afford those fancy PlayStations, so I made up stuff. I had this like styrofoam that I would carve out like tracks from styrofoam and make the parking garages and stuff like that. And those are great. My Legos.
We used to, because we have the hills in our yards, because Maplewood is kind of on a downhill from a south to north kind of structure. And so if you were on the south side of the street, your backyards were flat, but your front yards had hills down to the street. And then if you were on the north side of the street, you were flat in the front, and then you would go, and you would be on this downhill run all the way from like Burr and Lakeview all the way down to McGee even. So there's blocks worth of just downhill run. So we used to get insane, and we would bring all of our Matchbox tracks together. And there was like 6 guys living on my block of Alameda alone. Randy Oleski, Sean Campbell, Darren Jafarian, the guys. We would get together with all of our Matchbox tracks, and we'd usually start in Sean Campbell's garage because his dad was an ultimate car nut. So he was always working on the car. So we would start playing with our cars there. And then we would just string the track down Sean's driveway, across the street, across the Cosses' front yard. And they were always very, tolerant of us because it was a great family. The Cosses, they were like, the cool uncles and aunts to everybody. And we'd go across their yard, we'd go down their backyard, and then we would get a touch of, what was it? The Schlecks? Yeah. On Albemarle, the next street down. One time we had this thing going across almost 2 full streets. And then we would run the car and we would all be chasing it like madmen going straight down these yards, just trying to catch up to the cars that were flying along. And we consider that like world record level stuff. I mean, that was our entire summer. We were Phineas and Ferb all over the place on that one. So there's that's a great memory. Thank you for helping me evoke that one.
Okay, so Matchbox cars would be one of them.
Yeah, that was the topic of the question. I'm your Anecdote City.
Oh
no, that's good. I mean,
I have a couple, but man.
What else did I
We'd
play with that?
We'd have to go with Cabbage Patch.
This was in my year's BD.
Oh, Cabbage Patch dolls.
Cabbage Patch would be a great one. Cabbage Patch.
Oh God, my first one was a fake one.
I would say
I got my first Cabbage Patch doll. I think it was like 1994.
Lincoln Logs.
See, Lincoln Logs is good.
I once again was an adult with a Cabbage Patch doll because my parents got me a New York Mets Cabbage Patch doll. Came with the in the uniform and the cap, and
it's funny because on the birth certificate for my Cabbage Patch doll, its name was Tyler James.
Nice.
But I got my first real one at my 9th birthday party at United Skates of America from the Skatosaurus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her name was Helma Mayonnaise. Not even kidding.
That's amazing.
That's funny.
That's amazing. That's funny as hell.
That just totally said I was an 80s baby, didn't it?
Yes, it did. But we love you anyway, so all's good.
Now, did anybody else play with Light Bright?
Yeah.
Yes, I still have one.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, I had one.
We have 2 of them here, the portable one and the cube.
The cube.
Pixel art, man.
Cubes. It's 4-sided so that 4 different people could play at once.
Wow. But once
they have like little trays attached to them to keep your pegs in, which was brilliant because how many pegs did we all lose as kids?
That's what I was just. Whose idea was it? Let's give little kids hundreds of pegs that they can put in their mouth.
Oh man,
the dark pegs or translucent.
Well, at least you know when they came out.
Yeah.
Well, going back to like just like the dolls and like the fashion dolls and the Barbie dolls type thing, I had the Donnie and Marie dolls with Donnie Osmond and Marie Osmond and their little like sound stage or whatever when the Donnie and Marie show first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a record that would play whatever
I'm going to guess a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
Probably. And I just remember being in the house in Lakeville having it and getting it for Christmas or whatever. And it was like just awesome. So I remember the Donnie and Marie dolls.
That's cool.
See, I was going to mention Monopoly, but there's a really good Monopoly documentary already. I think it's on Amazon called Under the Boardwalk.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I know that song.
Down by the sea, under the boardwalk. No?
And it follows like the history of Monopoly. No, I love that song. And the Monopoly championships and all the people that I think like play for real money.
How long does a Monopoly championship take? Seriously, is that like a 6-month event?
That's a good question.
I mean, because one game is like 8 to 12 hours. And if you have to go through like layers and layers and layers of, winners, looters, I mean, it's got to be 6 months.
I don't know if you're really good at it. Does it make it faster or slower?
I don't know, but Jess and Riker were playing Monopoly yesterday in my house. So I just said to Jessica, I love you, because she was playing board games with Riker. And Anne's like, that's okay. She loves board games and she doesn't get a chance to play very much. I said, Riker too. I'm like, it depends on what it is.
The only child thing is really a bummer for her. So
I wouldn't know anything about that at all. How about you,
Me
Tanya?
neither.
No.
Well, see, the thing is, my parents would play board games like growing up. I mean, I remember playing the Game of Life, and like we played a lot of cards growing up.
Yeah.
So a lot of gin and crazy eights and Uno, and then my cousins taught me how to play euchre, and then I could play euchre with my parents and things like that. And another one that we play is scat, which is 31, and that gets kind of cutthroat in my family.
we'll play games with her, but she doesn't like it when she loses because she wants to play Scrabble all the time. And she really needs to play more Scrabble because have you seen kids' spelling skills these days? But
have her play Scrabble against Randy. Randy will end up landing on the triple letter, triple word using the Z and the Q and the K.
Oh, that's just so fun.
As he comes to it, because he knows it's true.
So we do play games with her, but I think she misses when like having other kids to play with all the time. And you know, most of you guys know I live in the middle of nowhere. We don't have a lot of neighbors. She doesn't have a single neighbor that can come over and play a game with her.
I can relate to that growing up.
Yeah, and me too. I mean, I grew up on 5 and 20 in Lima. It's like on a little side road. Only child, no neighbors whatsoever that had any kids, and I had to wait.
And somehow she survived to this day. So I guess.
He's an ass. But yeah, cousins and things like that was like the closest thing I had. He's such an ass. Go away. And now he made me lose my train of thought. Chris, I'm so sorry for every time I've done that to you.
Thank you. I accept your apology.
So, like, Jess was so happy a couple weeks ago when Abby and Ariana were there, and then all of a sudden I get the phone call from her. Can you come over and play a game? And I'm like, sure. I'm like, I'll come over for a little while. I'm like, I have to be home by 8 or whatever because I was gaming. And then I walked in, and no, that was just wrong. That was not Monopoly. It was Cards Against Humanity with teenagers. It was really wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And the girls, oh my God. They're horrible. They were horrible, but yeah.
See, I was in heaven when Trivial Pursuit came out because something finally, a game finally came out that I was good at, like instinctually.
Oh, when we have Star Wars Trivial Pursuit here in the house, and when we do play with friends or whatever, and we're playing with Randy, in order to get a piece of the pie, Randy's got to answer 3 questions to our every one.
Wow.
I'm not even allowed at the table anymore. When they break out Trivial Pursuit, it's either everybody versus Dad, or Dad's just not allowed to be at the table.
Well, because you and Randy are fountains of useless knowledge.
Yeah,
yes, we are.
It always wound up teams against me, too. Maybe we should all play Trivial Pursuit sometime.
I mean, I love Trivial Pursuit, but I'm just like, I'm not good at remembering stuff, so.
We'll play the 6 Degrees of Mark Shepard version.
No!
There you go. That's the win right there, dude. That's it. That's
I
the
can't
whole...
play that. And I'll be right back.
Okay, so what else do we want to see them do? Board games. Did they do a board games thing? Because we're just talking about. I mean, look at the entire conversation we just did about Trivial Pursuit, Monopoly Life, stuff like that.
Mouse. I want to know whose idea it came up with Mousetrap, because it never worked. You put the whole thing together, and like 3 moves in, it stopped working. You had to prompt it again.
Amazing.
Well,
or maybe like Thomas the Train, like trains.
Ooh,
model train, HO
model
train.
trains would be a big one.
Oh, I forgot about my train. I used to love my trains.
Absolutely.
Um,
I know people who. I remember. Do you guys remember the radio personality Tom George?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Knew
He
him.
has this massive, elaborate train set in his basement. And when I first came up the ranks as a code enforcement officer in the city, I had the upper 19th ward. So I was actually inspecting the house next to his. And being an invested neighbor, he saw me, he came out, he asked, what you up to? And I told him, and he goes, and I said, you're Tom George. He goes, yes, I am. And we chatted for a little bit. I introduced myself, and he's, because he's retired now at this point. And of course, what's the first thing he's going to do? Have you heard about my train set? Yes, I have, Tom. And he invited me in to show it to me. And I spent about a half an hour just chewing the fat with him about, Rochester history that he'd laced into the whole,
That's
the whole
awesome.
scenery. And he pointed over to this one radio tower. He goes, tell me if you recognize that. And I said, oh, WBBF. Yeah, that was the AM channel. You started on WBBF, didn't you? And he looks at me for a second. He goes, okay, you're a freak. That's awesome. Thank you. He goes, you're the right kid. I'm like, okay, good. But yeah, that was not creepy at all either. It was so cool just to have this guy invite me in and show me this hobby that he's enjoyed all of his life. That's awesome. Yeah, so trains would be a thing.
He was a great radio personality. He was a great person.
Yeah.
I just love listening to him.
He's still with us, isn't he? He hasn't passed away.
No, I think he's
Well,
still
not
around.
on the
Yeah.
radio. Not on
Yeah.
the radio though, but yeah.
No, he's not on the radio though anymore.
But,
I know he was getting up there in years though, but that's a thing. Anyway, so we want to hear from you. Listener, yes, I'm pointing at you, even though you can't see it. You tell us what toys you remember growing up, because we cover a lot of different generations. There's people who listen to us that are older than we are, and obviously much younger as well. So I want to hear the ones that you were important to you and your take on the things we've talked about today. But while we do that, we're going to jump to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap things up and our question of the week. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. That was fun. As a matter of fact, I got 2 boxes of Legos sitting on my shelf behind me that I have not built yet. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't care. I'm 50 years old, and the box says age group 8 to 99, and I'm planning on milking that for as long as I possibly can.
I don't think I could keep a box. I don't think I could keep a box on my shelf unbuilt. I don't know. That's willpower.
Is one of them Avengers?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, one of them is Avengers, and one of them is Lego Creator. So because I can. It's just weird because when you're a kid you can dive right into things, but when you're an adult, chores, job, responsibilities.
I used my off for cancer, recovery from cancer to build my sets. So I guess
There
that's
you go.
See, yeah, I'm not recovering from major surgery at the moment, so I can't hide behind that. I'd like to, but they know they wouldn't buy it.
No, you don't want to go through that. No, you don't want to.
No, and I really not. I'm with you
on
on that one.
And I just
say
sent you guys the picture of the Lego Creator monkey
Mm-hmm.
that we have had in the basement probably for 4 years, 5 years,
Yep.
whatever. And Riker finally took it upstairs one day and built the monkey and brought it back down and we put it on top of my desk. So
There's something very therapeutic about sorting through, finding the piece, and clicking it into place. Just that whole rhythm there. Anyway, so I'm going to pick a question of the week today. I'm going to pick questions 287.
287.
The Force inspired me.
Okay. What mythical creature would improve the world most if it existed?
A politician with common sense.
hey,
Why are
That
you
is pretty mythical.
Yeah.
we're not back yet, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
we're
back.
Oh, did we come back?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that we said we came back.
Wow. Somebody just not paying attention at all.
We've been back for 2 minutes. Yeah.
And it wasn't me for a change of pace.
I thought we were just still talking, but I'm like, okay.
Don't
Never
worry,
mind.
Tanya. Dan edited out all your racist comments.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez, don't do that to us. Don't do that. Tanya is like the
Today's-
most easygoing person ever.
I
She's
know,
like the most. Oh my God.
I should have said something different, like sexual innuendos. Or
There you go. That was
There you go.
There.
And
That's
Anne's dropped again into the gray because she can hear Chris, but she can't hear me.
Ay, ay, ay.
Uh-oh. So, mythological creature.
What mythological creature would improve the world most if it existed?
Phoenix.
That was my first.
My first
Well,
thought
that's
was
my-
a dragon.
That would be awesome too.
Unicorns.
Yeah, that was my
Unicorns.
other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear Anne, but if she says something.
Yeah, I can't hear Annie.
I can't.
I can't hear
There
anybody.
she is.
Ah, there
There's
she
Ann.
is.
Oh,
There's
I was
Ann.
being quiet. I'm
I still
sorry.
can't hear her, but
I want to say
Leprechauns?
they're magically delicious. Oh wait, no, that's Lucky Charms.
You don't want to eat the leprechaun. No, don't eat the leprechaun. They taste funny. It's
We'll edit that out too.
Oh boy.
yeah.
Unicorns. Let's see. Are they lucky? What does a unicorn do? Are they lucky or
Well, they get
powers
you to
of
the pot of
horn.
gold. Imagine all the
No,
greedy people trying to check them
unicorn.
down.
unicorn?
Not
Unicorn.
leprechaun.
I just saw a
Unicorns.
picture of a unicorn on my Kindle. So
Well, allegedly their horns have like magical powers and things
Healing
like that.
powers for the horn.
Healing
and
powers, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
represents innocence.
they're just cute and they can gouge your eye out.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
a centaur?
Centaur.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. They have kind of attitudes though, so I don't know. They're very. Would they improve it or they make it more stuffy?
Let's see. I've seen both good and bad mermaids.
Mermaids. Well, it'd make people more interested in the sea.
Yeah.
Maybe fairies are generally good, right?
Fairies, yeah.
Well, that depends.
Mischievous at worst, usually.
Sprite, pixies.
I think it's a type of
Tinkerbell.
fairy.
Oh, there you go. Ooh, don't piss her off.
Which one?
Tinkerbell.
She's
Oh,
short
yeah.
and feisty.
Yes.
It's funny you should say that.
I'm not that
No.
short.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Or were you referring to your daughter?
Mythical creature,
No.
Jesus. Oh, sorry.
Somebody else.
Oh, thanks. Have we covered most mythological or mythical creatures?
The
type
ones that we
thing?
would want to hang out with, because I don't think we would want to deal with cyclopses and giants and, you know.
Yeah,
Or
the Greek
ogres.
gods or
Ogres.
something like that. Yeah.
So, all
Goblins.
right, that's cool. So we want to hear what other mythological creatures you might come up with. So,
I think Phoenix is the best one, though, Chris.
yeah, that's my favorite. It's my personal favorite.
That would be good.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Something inspiring. I appreciate. That sounds like a wrap. Is this a good wrap? This is a good place to
Yeah.
wrap.
You did good.
Yeah. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Chris.
Hit it. Because this has been FC3's Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic Con, coming at you in September of 2021 at the Total Sports Experience in Gates. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Linktree, follow us wherever we go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. You guys have a great week. Have a safe week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Dun, dun.